Thank you all for joining us today on Public Square. Monica, I'd like to start with you. Tell us about your story. You struggled a bit in high school and dropped out for a time. What were the factors that made school so challenging?
My sophomore year, I dropped out of high school, and I was attending Albuquerque High, and just had a lot of dynamics going on in my personal life. And when I was in my community, which is South Broadway, it's considered one of the federal designated pocket of poverty communities, but it had tremendous assets. So there was many individuals in the community that really saw the strengths that I have and the assets that I had, and encouraged me to volunteer in my community and gave me opportunities and continued to encourage me to go back to school, and I did. And the following summer, it gave me an opportunity to work and tutor and mentor and develop lesson plans to engage elementary school students in learning. And so I was able to be surrounded by many adults in the community that cared for me, and they didn't work at the school, but they were connected in the school, so they volunteered a lot of their time.
And so now you are Director of Community Engagement at Albuquerque Health Leadership High School. So how do you connect students to the larger community and the community to the school?
At our school, it's a hands-on learning school, and we connect students to health careers. So the different topics that the students are learning about, I get to bring in community partners. For example, our students are learning about what creates poor vision, how to improve vision, the importance of vision testing. And so we're connecting to community partners that have an expertise in vision. And we're also connecting to community partners, for example, the Young Children's Center, where our students will be trained how to give well childhood checkups. And then our students will be then linked into the community in the South Valley, and they'll be able to give early childhood checkups. It's a really unique approach of how we engage the community in building the curriculum. And they also create opportunities for our students to provide a service in the community based on a variety of topics.
What impact do you see on the students having those kinds of connections?
It's like a carrot, a carrot that connects them to want to be involved in their education and see that, they can go to college, and they're also able to see people that look like them, people that come from some of the communities that they grow up in. So it just helps to build relationships. And again, just really think about those career aspirations and how high school is the first step and college is the second step.
I want to turn to Artadeli. You are getting your diploma at RFK in the South Valley. You're a slightly older student, so talk about how you came to this point where you're going to the night classes to do this.
I was at a job that I was not liking, that was taking me nowhere, and I said, well, I can't move forward if I don't have a high school diploma. So I went to the SWEPT program that they have at the
That's
RFK.
the after-school program or night classes they have.
Which I didn't get into, the GED program. I didn't pass the placement test. That's when I started the RFK evening school classes.
And so you dropped out of high school.
Yes.
And what prompted you to do that?
My family, I don't know, they needed help at that time for me to work. We were having some family issues, and I just left school.
Would you have been able to go back, you're 24, to a regular high school? Would you have done that to get your diploma?
No.
Okay.
I'm too old to be in high school with younger students.
What's it like at RFK? You go at night?
Yeah, I really like it. They give you a lot of opportunities. They have a child care. There's really no excuses not to go.
So what are your plans now?
My plans are to finish high school and start a child care business.
Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, I want to turn to you because you are the director of RFK. You call yourself a community school on steroids. So
yes. Well, that's a fair description. Year by year, the community involvement has driven what goes on. So in 2008, when the economy all fell apart, our parents had lost jobs. And so all of a sudden, there was a need to work with our parents to help them get back into the workforce. So we created this nonprofit, Southwest Educational Partners for Training, to help get them back into jobs. Well, it turned out that out of all those students, most of them didn't have their GED. So it caused us to create the GED program. And now we've got that GED program up and it's working well. And those are parents of students or people from the community that are now taking advantage of it. The next thing they wanted was ESL classes, because they wanted their children to go to kindergarten able to learn in both languages, so the parents felt that they needed to learn English so that they could work with their students. So that's a pretty good reason to create an ESL program.
So what are the needs of your community in the South Valley and its students that a traditional school model isn't going to meet?
So a lot of the students who go to RFK aren't necessarily going directly into college. And so there's got to be a career opportunity. And working fast food is not really a career opportunity. It's sort of dead end. And so the community's called for culinary arts classes. And so we now have culinary arts classes, and we're working with restaurants that are hiring people. We've got a welding program that's coming on, because if you go to southeastern New Mexico and you're a certified welder, you've got a job. So it's really about responding to the community and creating economic opportunity. She talked about a child development center. C&M has a whole program where they're trying to create bilingual early childhood development programs in the South Valley. And we're going to feed students into that program. So that's really creating opportunities for our students to get to the middle class by owning their own business and taking ownership of their future.
What are the challenges in implementing something like that?
You're always chasing money and child supervision. We had a student in the daycare last night. His mother and his grandmother are both in the ESL class. So I would say that supports for those family members as they move forward is one of the biggest obstacles for me.
Jose, I want to turn to you because you are with ABC Community School Partnership. How many community schools do we have in Bernalillo?
Our board, we're working closely with 16 schools, and we'd like to see that number grow.
So what makes a community school? Is it one particular model, or is it?
So, no, there's many models. So around the country, there's about 20 different models. So a community school brings people together. Who does that is that coordinating role, whatever their title may be, but is a single person who's maybe associated with the school, maybe associated with a community-based organization, maybe an individual. But their main job is to bring the many diverse voices together and say, okay, what's not good enough about what? And then how do we solve it? What can we do about it? So it takes a principal who has a shared leadership style, and it takes a well-determined, educated person in a coordinating role to assist that principal in connecting with their outside community.
Now, we have a state act that created community schools that was signed in 2013. To be under that act, you have to have parental engagement.
And supports. Extended learning, which could be youth and adult.
Okay.
And school-based or school-linked health.
Okay.
And also coordination in a lead partner organization who could be a school, a district, a community-based organization, or a government entity.
So right now that act sits in the public education department. There's no appropriation attached to it.
Right.
So now I wanted to ask McCain, your organization oversees school-based health centers in a number of schools in Bernalillo County. I think when a lot of us were growing up, we had like the school nurse. But this is something quite different, right? And why is that now more common?
Yeah, I mean, I think school-based health centers really embody bringing schools and communities together because they're located in a school or on the school ground, but they're run and sponsored by a community organization. It's like a clinic in the school. So there's a primary care provider who's a nurse practitioner, a doctor, a PA. There's a qualified behavioral health provider. Sometimes there's dental services. If you're lucky, there's health educators or care coordinators or community health workers. And they're so important in linking those students with community resources that support their health.
Are the families also accessing?
So it really depends on the school-based health center. So there's an example, a new school-based health center at Atrisco Heritage High School, and UNM is running that. And in the morning, they see the students at the school, and then in the afternoon, it's opened up to the community, which is really important for that community because there aren't, health services available in that community. Some of the APS schools, they only serve students.
Marco, I want to turn to you because you helped create a community school when you're at Wilson Middle School, or saw the transition of it. Right. Now you're at Highland High School, kind of doing the same thing. What kind of changes did you see as you went through this transition?
What I think a community school can do or does is really creates engagement and awareness. I mean, I think that's probably the theme that we all bring to the table. It provides that particular student, whomever they may be, to walk through our doors and know that it's not only going to be the safest institution that we can offer, but we're going to offer whatever supports will help you stay engaged. It's that sort of cliche or that age-old adage, it takes a community to raise a child. Well, I just look at it as it takes a school to raise a child at this particular point in time. If we can identify that Johnny has a sore tooth and that's what's detracting his engagement during that time frame, we can take care of that on the spot. For us at Wilson, what it helped us do is increase attendance, decrease the mobility. It really stabilized many of our families.
It stabilized the families,
It
so they're not
stabilized-
pulling the kids out and moving all the time.
Correct.
Why?
If families are feeling supported by the school, A, they stay, and B, they will access the resources that they need to maintain stability within their community, and even be willing. I mean, I think many of us work in high poverty schools. It's amazing what students do in high poverty schools, not only academically and socially, but service oriented. When they see someone struggling, man, there is a mass movement to say, we can't let you struggle, we will not let you drown. And I think that's what the community school model really support and help across the board.
Janice, what do you do at Wilson as the coordinator? Talk about, because that seems to be the really key thing in all these sort of models.
Well, what I would do, I would be that point person, that one-stop shop for a family. So when they do come in and they do knock at Marco's door, I'm in crisis, I can't get my kid to school for a couple of days, Marco or anybody at the school can walk this family over to the Family Resource Center at Wilson Middle School. And here we have a family engagement coordinator, there's myself, the community engagement coordinator, who are there to listen and to provide a welcoming space for our families and intentionally engage them by providing the resources that they need, the support they need.
So does parents feel like they can come to the school? The school is not sort of closed off to them.
Right, and so our Family Resource Center is there for that. We try to create a welcoming environment in the front office, and so that parents can walk in or community members can walk in. So an example is there's a man that walks our neighborhood to pick up trash around the community. We approached him and said, hey, I see you walking around, what is it that you do? He said, I'm a retired vet, I have time on my hands, I like to just clean up around here. He said, why don't you come in, let's get you a background check and become part of our school.
You know you've become a community school when families on the weekend, something catastrophic happens and they wait to report it until Monday to you as the leader of the school so that you can connect to those resources or those entities in which you've helped identify throughout
You mean like
your
they got
existence.
evicted or?
So whether it be they got evicted or, I mean, in many of our communities there's shootings and high crime. They'll come to school and say, what do I do next? And then we will guide them in a direction to go to the substation, and at times walk them to the substation and say, this is how we can access those needs and wants.
I'm going to turn to Peggy on that. Peggy, that's a lot to put on a school. Part of me wants to play devil's advocate for a minute and say, are we asking too much of schools to be all those things?
I think we may be asking schools, but the reality is that's where we find ourselves. Our schools are the hub of the community. They're the heart of the community. And people see it as a refuge. They see it as a place to go to get help. I have been in schools where it is not a welcoming environment. You have to have the inkling and the heart to do this work. And it's exhausting work. And there are some teachers that are like, I'm not doing this. I need to go to a traditional school where I just have to worry about my students and their academics, and I'm not a social worker, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a psychologist. But those are our kids. Those are the people that we're servicing. And we all went into this work because, not for the money obviously, because we wanted to give back, because we wanted to make a difference. We had an alumni, a student who's now in middle school, who struggled all through elementary school, very difficult home life. Came to school a couple of weeks ago and ran in and found an old teacher and said, can I stay here? I really don't feel safe right now. He didn't tell us exactly what the details were, but he knew to come into Manzano Mesa, and he knew he was going to be safe there and that we would take care of him. That's a community school.
I'm curious what your experience is as a teacher in a community school.
Yeah, I'm relatively new to the community school. And there's no doubt that working within a community school takes additional work, whether you want to define that as time or energy. But one of the great things about a community school is there's a variety of ways to get involved. And I think if teachers can find a way to get involved that speaks to them, it becomes easy to do.
When you came to Manzano, I don't know if it was already community school or if you walked in and the model was set up, were you sort of like, what does that mean? Do I have to like do more stuff? Because I'm already doing a lot.
That was my initial reaction. And when I came to Manzano Mesa, it was already set up as a community school. And it took time to kind of get involved and to figure out which different activities and which different ways of involvement kind of spoke to me. But with Homework Diner, I think I found that. It's a real unique program. We spend 6 hours a day with kids, but it's pretty rare to spend time in a less formal environment, and Homework Diner does that. The classroom's a very different setting.
Talk about the parents come with the kids to the Homework Diner.
They do.
What is that like?
It's been very helpful, particularly with math. As you might know, we're teaching math in different ways than many of us might have learned in school. And the parents are often fairly confused about what we're doing. So it's a great opportunity to sit down and work with the parent and the student so that a better understanding could come about.
So have you seen an impact on your students, John?
The parent expressed that her daughter was having a really difficult time with the math homework at home, and that had become a negative thing for her where she was really upset. And it was very surprising to me because in the classroom I hadn't necessarily seen the evidence of that. So I suggested that they come to Homework Diner. They have been coming regularly, and it's turned it from a negative experience into something very positive.
We didn't want to set up our parents for failure, asking them to sit and do pre-algebra and kind of, a little harder content. And so what we've done every single Homework Diner is that when the kiddos come in, they're greeted by Fidelity volunteers who are tutoring in addition to 3 of our teachers. We pull parents aside to do a parent or family engagement piece that's very intentional about providing also an additional family literacy. But I'd say about half of the families had never really touched a computer. And then there was the language barriers. So we're now in the baby steps of having a computer class offered at our Homework Diner. And so that's one example of how we provide kind of programming for our families, and then we see what the additional needs are, and then we create programming around that.
Mayor Richard Berry, we're very, very thankful for him contributing $100,000 to implement 7 Homework Diners. We're in the process of doing that. We're very grateful for the county who allocates the staffing to help facilitate that.
So you've got kind of a patchwork of funding here and here and here, but overall there's not a systemic funding stream.
Systemic.
Is that a problem?
Stream.
It seems like to keep your efforts going, this has to be institutionalized.
So one is the funding of that framework. So when I say the framework, is the infrastructure. You need a coordinator and give them the ability to go out there and bring people together to think. You need that. Now programmatic pieces, and I say this to everyone, yes, we need some consistent funding for those programmatic pieces. However, within a community school, as they continue to change and evolve, they need the flexibility with that funding to change the program fit for whatever that community decides it needs to go towards and how it needs to be used.
Now, I know that one of the legislators who got the state law passed, Rick Mietta, had said that there was no appropriation with it, and he felt like you had to at least prove out the concept.
Well, the very first school that ABC was involved with was Pajarito Elementary School in the South Valley. And in 2 years, they increased their math scores 23% and their reading scores 13% in 2 years. Just recently, look at Manzano Mesa, La Mesa, and Pajarito again. Manzano Mesa and La Mesa increased their lowest tiers, lowest performing students, the lowest 25%, went from an F grade to a B grade. And Emerson and Pajarito went from Fs to A grades in their lowest tier students.
Are there conflicts with the ongoing reform efforts?
Our students come to the table with a lot of different things beyond not being able to add and subtract. And so I think that's the conflict. If there's a conflict, kids have to feel safe, people have to feel safe before they even want to engage or be part of another group or institution or whatever it may be.
And that's the conflict. I believe everyone around this room is really student-centered. What do the students need for us to create the holistic learning, engaging environment? And everyone, has really talked about like connecting them to other things. And so that's that conflict. And so when mandates come down from, the high ups, the conflict is we're still trying to meet some of those basic needs. And I believe, many people in those high positions need to come to our schools.
Ardelli, when she graduates, will generate no points towards RFK's school grade because she's a couple years too old to generate any points in the grading
So you don't
system.
get credit for that when they're ranking the school?
Her graduating will generate no points in the school grade, and that school grade then goes into TeachScape and affects teacher evaluation. So I can't ignore the student. I can't ignore the mission of the school. I'm not going to. All right, and last year when 85 parents from the South Valley came and said, we want RFK to open a middle school, we've got a middle school, but it takes the expelled and suspended students from 2 of the middle schools on the valley floor. That's the mission of that middle school. Now, I'm not sure how that's going to affect our test data, but that's the mission of the middle school. And so when a community school develops a mission in response to the community need, then that becomes what's important. RFK is not a failing school. We have a waiting list. Sometimes the mission really is up against what that mandate is about raising student test scores.
So we're going to continue this is a very interesting line of discussion. We're going to add in our leadership and continue on to the next segment.